JBN, we keep you informed. He told me he would soon be back. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items. I would rub his head or his back every night before he went to sleep. He used to really like that, and most nights he couldn't sleep without it. He was a brilliant child too, always at the top of his class and always studying. He was also very kind and caring too, and he loved to cook. That's why it's hard to go into the kitchen again, because he would always be there with me. For Kerene Scott, those memories have been the only breaks in her pain these days, as she knows her son, the once promising Simon Guthrie, will never again be home. He was mowed down by a reckless motorcyclist, an act which has left a deep sadness in its wake. He told me he would soon be back, Scott shared in between sobs during an interview. He told me he would just be gone for a little while, that it was one of his friend's birthdays and he was going to look for him and return home because it was a school night. Coincidentally, Simon's birthday was just 3 days away. January 18, he would have been 17. That night, Wednesday, January 15, while walking to go see his friend, Guthrie was hit by one of two bikers racing along the Orange Bay main road leading to Negril. His leg was partially severed in the process. How can they be racing on such a busy roadway? It's something they always do every night, but it's very dangerous. It makes no sense. The road is one of the busiest, pedestrians are always walking on it. Cars are always reversing or turning. I don't get it. I really don't get it, Scott lamented. According to information she received from observers, the bike that hit Guthrie had its lights turned off, a practice Scott explained, which stems from bikers wanting to show their dominance or mastery of the street. When they're winning the race, they always turn off their lights to sort of show off. I heard that my son was crossing the road at that point, so he couldn't see what was coming. That's when he was hit. Scott had just come from work and was preparing for bed, so when her phone rang, she didn't think it would have been an emergency. It was one of his cousins. He told me that something was wrong and asked if I was sitting down. I started to get worried. I asked him what was wrong, but he didn't tell me initially. After pressing, Scott was told that Simon had just been involved in a bike accident and that things didn't look good. I didn't know what to do. I was panicking. I quickly put on a dress and ran down to the road, Scott said, adding that she could hear the commotion as she approached. When she got to the scene, instead of getting him immediate help, bystanders had their phones out videoing the badly injured teenager who was bleeding profusely. His friends rushed in to get him help, but most of the people there took their phones out and were videoing him. They were taking pictures of my son bleeding. He was bleeding so much, Scott recalled through her tears. I wish people would stop that. I wish I would help someone in need instead of videoing them. Guthrie was rushed to a nearby hospital and Scott followed closely behind. When I got to the hospital, as soon as I reached, I could hear my baby crying. I could hear him. He was yelling, "What are you doing with my foot?" I yelled out to him and he heard me. I told him I loved him and he said, "I hear you, mommy." The next day he was transported to the Kerene Regional Hospital. His leg had to be cut off because it was basically all torn off in the accident. The doctors told me he needed blood, otherwise he wouldn't make it. So I called everyone I could, but it didn't work. When I went in to see my son, he was on a life support machine. I rested my hand on his heart and held it there and prayed for him. I felt his heartbeat until I didn't feel it anymore. That's when I knew he was gone. The doctor said he lost too much blood. Guthrie wanted to be an accountant and was always the kind of person to look out for those around him. He would always tell me that he's going to take care of me. That's why he would always try to cook for me whenever I saw me in the kitchen. He really cared about his family and his friends. He loved his 3 siblings too. It's just been hard on everyone. I don't know what I'm feeling and I don't know how to get through it. I don't know if I ever will. Everything I did was for my children, and now, with Simon gone, I don't know what to do. Scott wants the world to remember his son, who he was, a loving person, a family man and a good friend. Scott was a student of the Rhodes Hall High School. The police are investigating. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.